What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2021 Audi R8 V10 rear-wheel drive. Behind me is a 5.2-liter V10, and down below is a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. Now, I am so excited to be driving this here R8 for a multitude of reasons. One of them being, about a year and a half ago, I drove a V10 Lamborghini Huracan, which this car shares a lot of parts with. And so I'm excited to see if there's a big difference. Monetarily, there's about $100,000 between this car and that one. But let's see if it's worth the money. But if you guys would like to help support the channel before we get on with anything else, I have a website, zackparrell.com, where you could submit your own vehicle for review, as well as you could buy merch like stickers, or you could read my blog where I give a behind the scenes look at the cars that I'm filming that week, and I'll outline my entire Jacksonville experience as well, because I'm down here in Florida, beautiful sunny Florida, here in February to drive some cars. I'm over the moon. Let's get back to that 5.2-liter V8. Let's get back to that 5.2-liter V10. I keep messing up in the bloopers. I keep saying V8 because I'm just not used to saying V10. Makes 533 horsepower, which is phenomenal. Again, this does share the engine with the Lamborghini Huracan. However, the Huracan makes a little bit more horsepower, and you could get a special edition of the R8 that makes more horsepower than 533. It bumps it up to about 600, but believe me, I am plenty happy with 533 horsepower in this R8. Third gear. Oh my God. Oh man. Oh, I don't want to be a nuisance to the neighborhood, but oh, it did a little shimmy, and we'll talk about that rear wheel drive in a second. It did a little shimmy, but man, is it fun. Oh boy, oh boy. Like I said, paired to it is a 7-speed automatic dual clutch transmission from Audi. It shifts really, really quick. Again, very, very happy with it. And something to note that's different from the Huracan is that the Huracan, you have to hit the up paddle in order to get it into drive. This is just a standard shifter out of every other Audi. And so you just move it to D and you get on your way. Love that. Last but not least, this is the rear-wheel drive version, which was the more rare version or rarer option for the Audi R8. Most of them have the Quattro system, and actually the first gen R8 that I drove had the Quattro system as well. I wasn't a big fan of it, and so driving the rear-wheel drive, the car feels a little bit more alive. It is a little bit lighter because it doesn't have that front differential, but also just driving something rear-wheel drive, I just prefer that feeling as opposed to all-wheel drive. Not to say that the all-wheel drive systems from Audi, the Quattro systems, are anything bad, but I just prefer rear-wheel drive, and that's what I have today, and that is exciting. The other thing I really like about this car, driving-wise, yes, I love that V10, vroom, 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 but I also love how normal it does drive. Now, the cabin noise is a little bit louder than I would have thought, and the ride is a little bit harsher than I thought. However, that being said, it drives like a normal car. I feel like I'm driving an Audi TT. Not a whole lot of difference here. It's nice, it's calm, it's respectable. But then, if you want to let it eat, you can let it eat. With that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a digital screen. This runs everything. Not only is this my gauge cluster, and I do have physical gauges on the left and right for coolant temperature and fuel, but this is also my sound system, my navigation, my backup camera is all found right here. The Audi TT has a similar setup to this screen, and honestly, I don't really like it. Now, the owner, Matt, has said that he's gotten used to it, and that's fine. I'm sure if you buy this car, you're not really buying it for the infotainment system. You can get used to it. It does have Apple CarPlay, but again, that's all ran in the system. I just personally, as a car reviewer, I've seen it done a lot better in a lot of other vehicles, and I would prefer that. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my controls for that gauge cluster screen, as well as my drive select mode, and on the right, I have my phone options, voice commands, navigation, skip track, and my engine start stop. The steering wheel is very, very crowded. However, it kind of makes me feel like I'm in an F1 car, so I'll let it slide this time. I do have perforated leather on the steering wheel, which feels very nice. On the door, because I actually don't have anything directly next to the gauge cluster, I have a vent, and then I have my power mirror switches, power windows, power locks, and my Frunk release. We'll talk about the Frunk a little bit later on. Moving into the center, I just have 2 climate control vents and the climate controls themselves. There is no center screen because, like I said, all of that infotainment and all of that backup cameras, things like that, are ran through the gauge cluster screen. So it leaves it very, very clean in the center. And the climate controls are very clean as well. Fan speed, temperature, where to send it, and things like that. And of course, I do have heated seats, which aren't really necessary down here in Florida, but a nice feature nevertheless. I do get a little cubby with some USBs and aux in, as well as a 12-volt outlet, and a pretty sizable cubby, which is very, very nice. And I have my traction control off, hazard switch, parking sensor, and my rear spoiler up and down. So this does have a rear spoiler that will come up at highway speeds or fast speeds, but you can also manually put that up and down as well if you like it for a show or for pictures or whatever. Then in the center, I do have the gear selector. So this is what I really love over the Huracan, is that it actually just has a traditional gear selector. There's no extra bells and whistles where there doesn't need to be bells and whistles. And off to the right, I have the volume control knob. Again, I love this placement of the volume control knob. My Mazda 3 has it right here, and I've grown accustomed to it, and I really, really like it. I think this is the best place to put the radio dial. Then I do have some controls for my gauge cluster screen. If I'd like to select through navigation, I can go back and hit menu, and all of these different things I can do from this joystick. The joystick has very, very good feeling. I like that feature a lot. However, again, I'm just not a fan of the actual gauge cluster itself. Then I have the power parking brake, and I do have little openable cup holders, so we'll do a big friggin' bottle test for the first time in an Audi R8. And of course it fails. This is a supercar. If it passed, I would be a little sus, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Then we have to talk about the seats. Like I said, they're heated and they're very comfortable, as well as they're finished in this beautiful red leather. I absolutely love that. I think it actually looks really good in the R8. The R8 is supposed to be very flamboyant. It's a supercar. And so I didn't like this seat color in the Audi S7 that I did, because that was a sedan. That's, you know, for going to business meetings. I guess you could go a little bit quicker to your business meetings, but not by much. This is a supercar. This is for taking out on the weekends. And so yeah, let's make it a flamboyant color on the inside. Now, we don't have any back seats, but we do have a Frunk. So let's go talk about some cargo space here in the R8. So around the front of the R8, I already popped it from inside. Still has a hood latch though, so it doesn't fly up on the highway. And not a whole ton of space in here. You do get a little place for, you know, jumper cables, things like that, but don't really consider this thing a grocery getter by any means. Storage is decently limited here on the R8, but you do get a Frunk because it is a rear engine car, or really mid-engine car. You do get some nets up here with your blinker fluid and little pockets and things like that. Not a whole ton of space, but it's an R8 and I don't really care. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love the look of the R8. I think it's angular, I think it's muscular. I wouldn't really change much about it. I absolutely love it, and there's no changing my mind. Oh, wowie kablowie. This is finished in Suzuka Gray, which I think is a fantastic paint color from Audi. This car literally, exterior-wise, is a 10. It's a straight up 10 out of 10. But now let's get to my final thoughts here on the 2021 Audi R8 V10. Well, I'm excited to report the fact that having reviewed over 715-ish cars, whatever, I have not been jaded yet. This car is extremely good, extremely fun to drive. Oh man, and it's awesome. It's just awesome. I cannot thank Matt enough for this experience. It's beautiful, it's sunny. I'm in Florida. I'm in an Audi R8 V10. What more can I say? But I do want to draw that comparison to the Lamborghini Huracan. This is never a position I thought I would ever be in my career, to compare these two amazing, brilliant cars. But let's take a look at that Huracan again. That was a V10, 5.2 liter V10 from the Audi group in rear-wheel drive. That was also the rare Huracan rear-wheel drive. How does that compare to this 5.2 liter V10 rear-wheel drive from the Audi group, or Volkswagen group, really? Well, I think there's a certain snarl that's missing from this car. What I mean by that, I'll cut to the clip from the Huracan review that I did. I said it felt like I had a rocket strapped to me. It genuinely feels like I'm strapped into a rocket ship. I'm getting vibrations through my butt in which I've never felt before. In this R8, I don't feel that. It doesn't feel like there's a rocket strapped to my back. I don't get quite the same vibrations through my spine as I did with the Huracan. That being said, I will gladly take slightly less spine rattles for a discount of nearly $100,000. That's right. On average, this car was $100,000 less than the Huracan. And is there $100,000 more features in that Lamborghini? No. You pay for a little rumble and a badge. Now, if I had my way in the world and money grew on trees, yeah, I'd have the Huracan because I like the Lamborghini badge. But if you want the Lamborghini experience without the badge, this is it. I don't like the gauge infotainment system. That's true, but boy do I like everything else. I could get into so much more trouble with this. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Huge thank you to Matt. All of his information is found in the description below, his Instagram and whatnot. He's absolutely awesome. He collects the most obscure, cool, random cars you'll ever see, and I'm reviewing them today, which is just a dream come true. And driving this really, truly is a dream come true as well. I can't think of a better car. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for supporting me throughout the years and times. I can't believe that this is my job today. I'm the luckiest boy on earth, and I love you all. Take care.